Matt, let's jump into the divisional round of the playoffs. What are you looking for in this divisional round? What do you want to see? Do you want to see upsets? Do you want to see the favorites? What do you want to see overall?
I just want to see the unexpected. Maybe Bengals go for their next playoff win, they upset the Titans. Maybe the 49ers make another upset. We could see upsets. I just want to see the unexpected. Just blow my mind away.
Yeah, just the unexpected. I want to see Derrick Henry come back and maybe rush for like 250 yards and I was just taking a break. I wasn't really injured, and I'm back, bitches, and here I am to advance this team. We'll see what happens, but let's start with that game. Actually, the Titans versus the Bengals Saturday at 4:30. Titans favored by 3.5. The over/under set at 47. Which personally, if the Titans are running the ball, that does seem a little bit high, potentially, if the Titans are milking the clock. But Titans-Bengals, thoughts on this matchup, Matt?
It's going to be a good one. Like you said, Derrick Henry's coming back. Titans with the home field advantage. That just smells like a recipe for disaster when against the Bengals. But I wouldn't sleep on the Bengals. I think they got something to prove going into Tennessee with the connection with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They might potentially have some big games there, but I think, like you mentioned, I think for Cincinnati to have a chance is you got to balance everything out. You got to have a good running game. So Joe Mixon, I think, is going to have to do some stepping up going to this game. We'll see. I hear Nashville is a hype town. I've been there during the Tennessee home game before. Haven't been to a game, but I know it gets crazy. And I think with the playoffs intact, I think it might be tough for Cincinnati, but I think they'll make it close. Right now, I'm not sure. I think the Titans will go out and win this game. My personal opinion. I think with Derrick Henry being back just smells like a recipe for disaster for Cincinnati. So I think I would take the Titans. Not sure about over under 47 as of yet. I'll have to do some more thinking. But as of right now, I think Tennessee takes this one.
Do you think they cover the spread, or you think it's a little bit closer than 3?
I think it will be closer than 3. I think they cover. I can see maybe being like a 6.7 point game.
Okay, 6.7 point. Yeah, I like that. I'm extremely nervous for this game actually because in my playoff bracket, which is currently perfect at 6-0, I have the Bengals upsetting the Titans in this matchup, and here's why. When Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase get hot, they're unstoppable. We saw that during the season when they're clicking. He can feed the ball to Jamar Chase 13, 14 times for 11 catches, 10, 11 catches, over 130 yards and a touchdown, whatever it is. I haven't been able to figure out the Titans this season, and it feels to me like they got the number 1 seed by way of the Kansas City Chiefs struggling during the beginning of the season and the Bills playing in a tougher division than the Titans did, having to face off against the Patriots, having to face off against the Dolphins as well, who are always a tricky team, and also just the extra games on the schedule from the Bills winning the division last year. So the Bills had some tougher games this season, I think, that held them back from being the number 1 seed. So to say the Titans are a true number 1 seed, I don't know if I'm there yet, because if you were to put the Titans versus the Packers are a clear number 1 seed. But to me, the Titans just don't seem to fit in there. And for that reason, that's why I'm taking the Bengals. I think the moment might be too big for the Titans having to defend home turf. The Bengals got a gutsy win against the Raiders, so they have the playoff rust off. Joe Burrow's first playoff game is in the books with a win. I think the Bengals, we say it all the time, is there an advantage to having a bye week? And I think for a team like the Packers, there is. I don't necessarily know if there is for the Titans when the team you're playing is extremely hot and coming in, getting some of the first game jitters out.
Yeah, I mean, just looking back, I'm looking at their last 5 games right now. Yeah, a win in Jacksonville, a loss at Pittsburgh, and then you come back and win 3 straight against San Francisco, Miami, and Houston. As much as yesterday they struggle on defense, they just find ways to win. And as I said, with Derrick Henry coming back, that could be a factor. They might find a way to implement him into their game plan going against Cincinnati. So I definitely see your point of view. It could be tough for Tennessee, but like I said, expect the unexpected.
Yeah, that's true. And I also think adding Derrick Henry back in, when you add in such an elite player like that, your team for the last 7 or 8 weeks has been playing one style of offense without him. So you add him back in to get back to your normal identity Well, now you're going away from your current identity, and I don't know how that's going to affect them because they've had to find ways to win without him. Everyone would presume, okay, let's add him back in. It's going to be easier to win, which might be the case. But to me personally, I think adding in a player like that, it's almost like subtraction by addition, because now maybe you're trying to force feed him the ball more than you typically would because he's back in the lineup. And let's just resort to Derrick Henry every single play. Now, I say all that to say the Bengals defense isn't the best against the run at all. So I could see Derrick Henry having a big game. But I think this is going to be a game of just who wants it more. Both these teams, I think their identity has been just find ways to win, and both these teams have been successful at that. I am going to go with the Bengals in this matchup just to match my playoff bracket. I'm going to go with the under 47 as well in this game. I could see this easily being 24-21, maybe 23-20 kind of game, a 3-point game. I'm going to go in favor of the Bengals, who have Evan McPherson, who's one of the best kickers in the league, and put 5 through the uprights on Saturday afternoon against the Raiders. So 5, right? Or no, 4, 26. Yeah, 4 field goals, 2 extra points, 6 total through the uprights on Saturday afternoon against the Raiders. Let's move on to the second game on Saturday, the first NFC matchup we have here in Battle of the Old Guards, Packers versus 49ers. Packers hosting the 49ers. A little surprising spread here. Packers only by 5.5. If I were you, I would grab that now before it goes to 6, just because you want that magic number covered. Packers 5.5 over the Niners, over under 47.5. Obviously, Packers coming off the first round bye, 49ers coming off an emotional victory versus longtime 70s and 80s rival Cowboys, making it this far as the 6th seed. What do you see here, Matt?
I mean, like you just said, it's an emotional game right last week for San Francisco. I think this week, can they control the emotions? I mean, you're going into Lambeau Field against Aaron Rodgers, which, like you said, the true number 1 seed right now in the NFC. And that's a scary thing to be up against. Green Bay right now is undefeated at home so far this year. I think you have to take that into account. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to potentially may have his way, depending on if teams can stay healthy. I think what you said, the spread right now is 5.5. Yeah, take it right now if you can. Not exactly sure how it's going to go. I think San Francisco is going to play tough against Green Bay, but Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He's going to find a way to get his team on the board. I think he's going to find a way to put himself in a position to win. So I think Packers will take this one. Again, this one could also be a 7-point game. This could also be a blowout. You never know what's going to happen. I said, can San Francisco control their emotions going into this week?
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, did San Francisco winning last week, was that their ultimate goal? Let's get to the playoffs and win a game, and now emotionally they might be drained. I know they're all professionals, they're all NFL players, they're all playing for pride, so I doubt that's the case, but I think subconsciously there may be that type of feeling where the Packers are, they're in it for so much more than just one playoff victory. I think the 49ers are still trying to figure out their quarterback situation. Jimmy Garoppolo on the last year of his contract, going into Green Bay against Aaron Rodgers, who still has to figure out his contract in Green Bay. But ultimately, Devontae Adams, obviously you have Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon as well. Allen Lazard's been a guy that has stepped up. And the one thing I feel like has held the Packers back in the past has been their defense and their lack of defense, for that matter. And we saw that in the NFC Championship last year against the Buccaneers. But I think the Packers defense is better now than it's been a long time. And even though they allow a decent amount of points per game, it's because the Packers offense scores willingly. And when your team scores willingly, being a UCF fan, I know this. When your team scores a lot of points, the other team has a lot of opportunities to also score points. So I think the Packers defense has been playing a lot better as of late. I think Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell will be heavily relied on in this game. But when you have Jimmy G dropping back at quarterback, I don't know if that's going to scare the Packers enough to where the 49ers can find a way to win. So for that reason, I'm going to go Packers win this game and cover the spread. I think this is going to be an 11-point victory, and I'm going to go 31-20 in this one against the 49ers.
So you're taking the over.
I am taking the over in this one. I feel like the Packers, they'll be able to answer any points that 49ers put on the board. And I do think the 49ers have enough firepower on offense with Elijah Mitchell and with Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle, to where they'll be able to at least get maybe 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals, maybe 3 touchdowns. But I think ultimately the Packers are able to get the job done.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, 100%.
Let's move on to the first game on Sunday, Buccaneers versus Rams, the 3:00 game on Sunday, which is foreshadowing conference championship weekend, 3:00, 6:30 time slots on Sundays. Be sure to be aware of that before expecting to see a football game at 1:00 on Sunday. This game will be at 3. Buccaneers favored by 3 points against the Rams. Over under is set at 48.5 in this one. Matt, what do you like in this matchup?
This is a dangerous matchup. I mean, Rams are hot. Buccaneers coming off a big win. But like we mentioned earlier, Tristan Wirfs, the injury, he's probably going to be a game time decision. And I think that might make into an effect on how Tampa Bay is going to play up. I mean, it's Tom Brady. He's going to find ways to win this game. I think that might be a key factor. Leonard Fournette, that they need playoff Lenny, even though I think Vaughn's done a great job. But I think they can get Leonard Fournette in. I think that'd be a huge plus to Tampa Bay. I think for LA, can they just keep riding it out? I mean, OBJ, I think it's safe to say that Baker was the issue in Cleveland. It wasn't OBJ being a narcotic craziness going on in Cleveland. But I think this could potentially be a shootout. I really don't know. This game could go either way. Yeah, I think right now I'll probably go Tampa Bay, but I can see the Rams pulling this one out too.
If I was looking at these rosters on paper and I was looking at this preview and we took Tom Brady out of the equation, we took Matt Stafford out of the equation, I would take the Rams roster probably 7 times out of 10, just based on the offensive weapons they have with OBJ, with Van Jefferson, with Tyler Higbee, Cooper Kupp, Cam Akers. Those guys are dominant. What's been interesting about the Bucs is even without playoff Lenny, even without Chris Godwin, they still find ways to get the ball to the playmakers. Mike Evans had a hell of a game this past weekend, but still guys like Scotty Miller, Rashad Perryman were catching balls. Some guy named Darden or Garden, I don't even know this guy, was catching passes out there. Like, it's just crazy. And then, of course, they have Gronk and Cameron Brate, so they do have some weapons themselves. I feel like the 3-point, typically they say in Vegas when there's a 3-point home favorite, that's just the home field advantage points talking. So really these teams I think are a lot more close than people want to believe. I think the Rams are hot at the right time, but again, to stick to my playoff prediction, I'm going to go with the Bucs in this one, and I really think it comes down to the fact that I think Tom Brady's able to limit turnovers, and I think Matt Stafford can facilitate turnovers that will create a little bit more, a few more possessions for the Buccaneers. I don't know. I'm going to actually do some research on this because I don't know how the game flow is going to work, because on paper, both these teams have the weapons to make it a shootout, but both defenses also have the capability of making this a 20-17 game or a 21-20 game when it's all said and done.
These guys played earlier in the season. Actually, I forget which week it was. I think it was early season, like week 3. Wasn't they played back then? Or am I wrong on this one? Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, they lost 34-24. I think it was back in week 3. Yeah, back in week 3. So I think both teams just got to find the mistakes that they made going back to that game and going back to last week, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, it was a big win for the Rams. I remember people were saying, oh, that was their Super Bowl, all that good stuff. But here they are, matched up again in the divisional round. Based on ESPN Matchup Predictor, the Bucs are favored by or to win at 65.8% versus 34.2%. Tom Brady, oldest player in the history of the NFL. Maybe end sentence there. Maybe he's just the oldest player in the history of the NFL. Who knows? But oldest player in the history of the NFL to lead the league in passing with over 5,000 yards, which is insane. 43 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Let's see if they get playoff Lenny back. If they can somehow get playoff Lenny back, that would be a huge win for this team. They were out without Ronald Jones as well, so they got to get some pieces back on offense. But I do like the Bucs in this one simply because of Tom Brady. Let's go to the final divisional matchup, and this might be the one that's the most anticipated, which is why it is in the Super Bowl time slot on Sunday at 6:30. Chiefs hosting the Buffalo Bills. Over under is at 55, and the Chiefs are favored by 2 points. against Josh Allen and the Bills. Bills coming off a huge victory versus the Patriots. Chiefs coming off a huge victory versus the Steelers that saw both teams combine for 98 points total in their first round matchups. What do you like in this matchup, Matt?
I think Kansas City right now is a favorite, but this is going to be a bloodbath. I still see the picture of Stephon Diggs from last season just looking on to the celebration when the Chiefs beat the Bills in the AFC Championship game last year. I think the Bills are going to be angry. They're going to be ferocious because they want to come back in here and beat Kansas City. I think for that, I think Buffalo, they just got to ride the train. Ride the train, ride the wagon. I'm sorry, ride the wagon. Circle the wagon for the Bills in this one.
Circle it.
I had to think about it for a minute. They got to circle that wagon for Buffalo. Just have that in your mindset. You had a chance last year and then you just fell short. So I think for Kansas City, just keep playing your game. This is no way. The Bills aren't Pittsburgh. They're a much better team than Pittsburgh. But I think for Kansas City, just keep playing your game. The Chiefs surprise us. The plays that they make is just, like I said, it's unexpected. You don't see Travis Kelce throwing a touchdown. You don't see Patrick Mahomes throwing for two slot or underarm passes, I should say. Both are going for touchdowns. So we'll see. It's probably just going to – I think this one's going to come down to the last possession. This could go down to a field goal kick or a last-second touchdown. Who knows? But this is going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, this one's going to be fun to watch. I think ultimately, if the Chiefs start the way they did against the Steelers, I think the Bills can take advantage of that. Obviously, the Steelers held the Chiefs in check for the first quarter, but if that happens against the Bills, I think the Bills can punish the Chiefs and put up some points and make them pay. But ultimately, these Sunday matchups are just so juicy. I couldn't be more excited about these matchups that we have on Sunday. And the Chiefs playing at home, I think, provides a huge advantage. Really, whatever one of these teams was playing at home, I would give the advantage to. That's how I feel about this, because I do think it is such an even matchup between these teams. Ultimately, I do think the Chiefs have the weapons and the firepower. They don't have to worry about going up into the 10-degree weather, to worry about playing in the snow against a Bills team with the Mafia that have just been binge drinking all day and that are just crazy. They'll be at home. They'll be cozy at home, and the Bills will be entering an environment where the fans are hungry for this team to get back to an opportunity to play for the Super Bowl. Because if the Chiefs are able to get past the Bills, I think the Chiefs are pretty confident in the next round, no matter who they face, whether it's the Titans or the Bengals. So I think for a lot of people that are football fans, this has a very strong AFC championship feel to it versus what will come next week, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. I feel the same way. This feels like an AFC championship all over again. I'm gonna root for the Bills. I know there's someone out there that's not gonna be happy I'm saying this. I'm going to root for the Bills in this one. I do think Kansas City wins, but I am going to pull for the Bills. I want to see Buffalo finally get back to another AFC championship and get another shot, get a chance to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I always like seeing new teams advance forward and advance past, with other stages of the playoffs that they haven't been to before. So I would like to see potentially the Bills move forward. But I do think the Chiefs win this one. I do think the Chiefs have a nice matchup in the following round following this game. But this is just going to be an exciting, electric matchup between these two teams, which, damn the NFL for keeping this for the final matchup of the divisional round. They're going to be waiting. They're going to have us waiting for this matchup all the way to the very end of the weekend. So anything else from you, Matt, before we call it an evening on this episode 128 of the Poogie Podcast? Anything else?
No, excited for another week of football. God bless us with more football for us next weekend, and we got to take full advantage of it.
Yeah, more football. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to watch it and get some bets in as well, do some teasers on all these matchups. It's just going to be fun, do fan duels, all that good stuff. It's going to be a great time. But Pooch Crew, thank you for being here for episode 128. Again, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go follow us on your preferred podcast streaming platform. Enjoy the rest of your week. If you're here in Jacksonville like us, stay warm. It is a little chilly out there, and don't call us wimps because it's 45 degrees. I know a lot of you around the country are braving the sub-20s right now, but it is cold for us here in Jacksonville. But go enjoy the rest of this week. Go enjoy some playoff football this weekend. But whatever you do, go make this world a better place and take care.